Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeartRadio network, the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America. Thank you so much for following Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. And of course, I'm going to give you the drum roll now. Get ready for the drum roll. Oh, Canada! Man, I think I choked, Dixie. I'm so sorry. I hope the good old boys don't choke in March Madness. But you know I love you, Canada. And there's no one I love more than you good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys? Oh, man. Oh, man. I see why Donald Trump has him speak from the podium when he goes off the cuff. Sometimes it's hard to remember the lines to work. I mean, I love Canada. That's why I'm trying to do it with no teleprompters. But I understand why singing the national anthems, you really got to do it right. But we love Canada. Big C, today is a beautiful March the 23rd, 2017. And all of California, you know, we've been having so much rain over the past months, Big C. We've even had some flooding out here in California. One of the country's tallest dams, the Lake Oroville, actually, you know, overflowed and had some damage up there. But now it's so gorgeous. All the trees are in bloom. Everything's pretty here in California. How's the weather for you good old boys down south, Big C?
Charles, we had a gorgeous day here, actually. You know, we've been a mix of everything, sunshine, rain, and chill. But, you know, today was just a gorgeous day. Went out in the yard and walked around and actually cut a couple of branches off some trees that were overhanging too far. But, you know, it was wonderful to be back out in the yard, you know, looking at things, trying to get the breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like March Madness. March Madness is a breath of fresh air, Charles, because every game is something new, something exciting. It's not the mundane.
Yeah.
Everybody's sitting on the edge of their seat with the heightened of excitement, Charles.
Yeah, and that's true. And I just want to say, I hope that as you're out there, you know, doing your own hedging of the bushes and cutting back bushes and mixing in new apples to that moonshine bucket, I hope you don't cut a finger because Donald Trump care hasn't passed yet, Big C. Them good old boys, they were so critical of President Obama. These good old boys don't even have the votes, and now they're asking for more time, Big C. They seem like they're so dysfunctional in the White House. Your thoughts, Big C?
Well, Charlton, you know, ironically, it was the 7th-year anniversary of the implementation of Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
And so the Republicans had 7 years from, you know, like 7 solid years to implement whatever they were going to do. They talked about replacing a bill and not have it work for the American citizens. But, you know, that's the thing, Charlton. This attack by the politicians is an attack on the American citizens.
Yeah.
They're not talking about replacing and repealing their health care, Charlton, that they get, that's paid for by the American public. When they want to talk about things, the cost is out of control.
Yeah.
What are we paying as citizens for these congressmen, these senators, these House of Representatives to have the most elite health care in the country?
Yeah.
When as American citizens, all they want to talk about is rising costs. Anytime, Charlton, that the politicians want to stabilize the cost of health care, it's done. It's done through acts of Congress, it's done through acts of Senate, it's done through acts of the House. Don't sit here and blame this on the former president's bill that went through, because when you sit there and you take the money from the lobbyists to allow insurance companies to do what they do against the citizens of America, you can't say it's a former president, Charlton. He's not in act. When they talk about premiums going up, but that's the insurance company, which can be regulated. It can be regulated, but they choose not to regulate it, Charlton. They would much rather blame somebody, take their kickback money from the lobbyists, and let the American public suffer, Charlton.
Yeah, and that's a shame, too, because there are even some good old boys. You know, I do want to say this, too. I know that America right now has been a laughingstock all over the country, especially in Europe. I mean, and we know in Russia they're all laughing at Donald Trump because I think Donald Trump realizes this is not that TV show that he had when he used to tell people they're fired. He's actually dealing with some serious world leaders who don't watch a lot of TV because they're busy working, Big C. And now you have the American, I guess the ignorant voter, because a lot of people who are not well read, they probably wanted to put Trump in because they thought he was going to make them rich too, Big C. But now that they're starting to read the bill, they're realizing they're going to be voting for a guy that's going to take it with their own insurance. That doesn't make any sense no matter who you believe in, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you sit back and you take a breath, when the Senate and the House will not vote on this,
yeah,
and these generally are some pretty astute gentlemen,
yeah,
okay, that they're saying this is not good.
Yeah,
this is going to get me, thrown out of my seat.
Yeah,
this is going to get me recalled.
Yeah,
this is going to get me voted out. I can't really stand behind this because how do you go out there and say that you're going to take health care from Americans?
Yeah.
Because you don't like an individual because he was African American.
Yeah.
And this bill was named after him. That's basically what it comes down to, Charles. This is a country of the greatest government, segment in the world when you look at our government structure. But it's also dirty, Charles.
Yeah.
It's dirty because it's controlled by a few.
Yeah.
And that's what cults are, Charlton. You have cults. Yes, these people are elected, but they're elected to represent the people, Charlton.
Yeah.
Not themselves and their pocket. There's nobody who leaves Congress or the Senate that's poor.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Be realistic about this. There's nobody poor.
Yeah.
So when you want to create a jobs bill, Charlton, you can create a jobs bill.
Yeah.
When you want to create a health care bill, you can create a health care bill. But it's about who's going to get paid.
Yeah.
If Congress and the House was honest with the American citizens about this,
yeah,
if we wanted to increase the coverage of Medicaid in America, Charlton, which is what the system should be run under,
yeah,
then everybody's covered. We won't have a problem because it's done on a sliding scale.
Yeah.
Based on your income, Charlton. Not based on where you live. It's based on your income. If you can afford more, then you pay more. That's the real Affordable Care Act of America. But because of that, Charlton, lobbyists would be, no use to be antiquated.
Yeah.
So they couldn't go in there and cut deals. And if Trump has talked about controlling pharmaceutical companies. At any point that you wanted to stop the excessive cost of pharmaceutical companies in America, you can do that through the House, through the Senate, through the presidency. But they're out of control, and they're out of control because they have lobbyists.
Yeah.
Let's be real. It's like agents in sports.
Yeah.
Agents are out there to get the top dollar for their athletes.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. That's what they're hired for. They sit there and they bring in the statistics, they bring in the numbers, they bring in the comparisons to players who play a similar position.
Yeah.
And that's what these lobbyists are doing, Charlton. They are there to get the best money for their clients, which are the pharmaceutical companies and the insurance companies.
Well, that's very true.
America understands that it's not the Affordable Care Act that's out of control. It's the private industry that's out of control. When Trump talks about creating jobs, he wants to do something, control private industry when it comes to Americans' health.
Yeah.
Health, Charles.
Well, Big C, that makes a lot of sense. And speaking of health, I want to say that this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive one, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Big C, I just want to give, Cadillac a lot of homage here because since you've been doing the Escalade, yours is always muddy and people talk about that. We've seen the Madison Bumgarner driving a dirty, lesser vehicle. We've seen a lot of even Cadillac running commercials on TV where the Cadillac's driving through the mud and is splashing mud on other cars, and some good old boys driving some type of vehicle. They were knee deep in that stuff and they pull up into a car parts store. But guess what I heard for like the fifth time in a Northern California radio station that broadcast a professional sports team? When they did their commercial, Big C, they did about a 2-minute infomercial. They even had the dealer on TV talking, or on the radio, talking about the experience of buying a vehicle from that, Big C. Your thoughts?
And I'm not saying we're the innovators.
Oh, yes, you are.
We've just been a forerunner out there in the sports and political media.
Yeah.
And what we say, there's no holdback.
Yeah.
Because the politicians are not holding back what they're saying and doing behind closed doors, and even these other sports programs.
Yeah.
But, they can listen to us. They all have production meetings.
Yeah.
And they want to find out what's new, what's hot out there. They listen to Charlton and Big C.
Yeah.
Because we're very edgy as far as what we do, but life is edgy, Charlton.
Yeah.
When you wake up in the
Yeah.
You know, you got your job that you follow through with and all of that. You know, your home life. But you never know what bumps may come in the road, and that's what we provide in our show.
Yeah.
We provide those periodic bumps that people say, damn. You know, it is true. You know, but nobody else is talking about it. We don't talk about it, Charlton, because it's a buddy-buddy system.
Yeah.
And I don't see any sports team being buddy-buddy with the fans.
Yeah.
Because they're constantly raising the prices on fans, okay?
Oh, yeah.
They're constantly sitting down players on fans.
Yeah.
They limit fans' accessibility, so they're not buddy-buddy with the fans, and the fans give their all to their local sports teams.
Yeah.
And so, but that's what we give to the fan who's listening, Charlton. We give our all because we want the fan to understand that we are like them.
Yeah.
We are real, and you can't pull the wool over our eyes, Charlton. You got to call a spade a spade, even though I play that game a lot.
Yeah.
You got to call a spade a spade.
Yeah. That's funny, Big C. But I just thought of the irony. You know, sometimes you see things that's called deja vu. Well, I heard one of these radio hosts, he was saying that some guy's been doing something for 40 years, all right? And then his partner goes by the name of DC now. Okay. I just thought that was crazy because I've heard these guys for a long time. And of course, we love what we love, and, you know, we listen to people that make us laugh.
We got that earlier on the NFL Network when Chris Canty was calling himself Big C.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And granted, there's plagiarism out there and copycatism all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, be honest about where you get these things from. Charlton and Big C is not trying to hide about what we do or what we say. We are open.
Yeah.
We're going to tell you things that, you know it's true, but you don't get it on the regular outlet. You know, to sit there and say something's going on and people say, well, they're making these things up. We're not Sean Spicer. Okay?
Right.
We're not the White House press secretary.
Right.
That's what things have to understand. We're not playing Inspector Gadget like Kellyanne Conway.
Yeah.
We're being real and honest about what we tell you. We're not telling you alternative facts. We're telling you facts. And if you dispute our facts and you find it wrong, we will accept that. But they're not there, Charlton.
Yeah.
We're honest about what we do.
That's funny that they had some breaking news that came out, and his name is Schiff. He's new evidence shows possible Trump-Russia collusion. Haven't we been telling people that for the past 6 months, that Donald Trump, he has more ties to Russia than he has to the United States, Big C, and people act like they're shocked. But I just want to thank you for your clairvoyance or your well-readness and the connection you have all over the world to media people. You know, some of the good old boys that don't always tell you what they know. But the fact that you can bring out things 6 months in advance, and then CNN, you know, the worldwide leader in news, they're talking about the same stuff 6 months later after you already brought it up that Donald Trump is crooked. Now they're all acting like they're surprised, Big C. Can you tell me why they're acting like they're surprised when all they have to do is listen to the CIA and the FBI? They've known this guy has been a crook for years, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, we're talking, it's almost like the NFL owners that he sold a wolf ticket to.
Yeah.
And he threatened all of them that if you sign Colin Kaepernick, I'll put out a nasty tweet for him. First of all, they got to make sure he spells that right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that is totally childish from the commander-in-chief, that you're sitting out there and you're getting in personal business. That's not what the president's job is in America, Charlton.
Yeah.
You're the president of this country. You're not supposed to be out there dabbing in what an individual does in their business.
Yeah.
And he has taken that upon himself that he feels that he can go out there and tell people how to run their individual business.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing he can do to the NFL, Charlton. They're 501(c)(3). They're a non-profit corporation.
Yeah.
That the government is allowed to make billions of dollars. And this is what the fans don't understand. They're non-profit. They don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
Okay? They don't. So they're out there making millions and millions of dollars every year and charging fans thousands of dollars to get into a game to watch.
Yeah.
A player that won't even sign an autograph. And I love sports.
Yeah.
It has just been altered over the years. I remember as a child, Charlton, and, you know, like many kids my age and older, we were the dumbest kids in America. I honestly tell you that. We were the dumbest kids in America. So we used to take baseball cards and put them in the spokes of our bikes.
Yeah.
Baseball cards, thousands of dollars. And we used to get out of the pack of gum. We wanted this dry gum with this powder on it, Charlton.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the cards were throwaway.
That's funny.
All these cards are trading for hundreds and even thousands of dollars that we put on the spokes of our bikes. So we were the dumb kid generation. You know?
now you got good old boys collecting that stuff and they're making money out of it. But I want to bring something up too again. Back to the White House, because this is so fascinating. People are waiting for baseball to start up. We're here in March Madness, and how you mix politics and sports and even Hollywood together. Everybody's doing it now. I've seen politicians on ESPN. I've seen news people show up on, sports guys show up on programs like CNN to give their opinion. And Big C, you started doing this over a year ago. But it's just funny when you think about Donald Trump and Rush Limbaugh and all these crooked guys that because they're white, according to Tim Wise, he says there's a thing called white skin privilege. And I know we see it, it rears its ugly head at times. Now we're seeing it happen in the world of the NFL, where this lying guy, Donald Trump, who's under investigation by the CIA, is telling NFL owners don't hire a black guy who stands up for Black Lives Matter. Is it because some of these NFL owners may have been invited to Trump Tower for this illegal Russian gambling thing they had going on? Big C, your thoughts?
These guys are always trying to find a way to make
yeah.
the whole money away from players.
Yeah.
Not through full disclosure. They fought against that for decades.
Yeah.
Not to allow the players into their financial stream. And so when you think about Trump and these owners, we know that he's friends with a lot of them.
Yeah.
Think about being in New York, there's nothing.
No wonder Bob Kraft is always sitting next to him.
So
yeah.
all of those boys on the Eastern Seaboard, he has to have some type of relationship with
Yeah.
them, even from a business perspective. So, they're aware of Trump's illegal doings. And when you think about the Mayor family,
yeah,
they were paying a player to beat up his wife.
Yeah.
These people are not good people.
Yeah.
And they knew about it, and he didn't lie about it to the public and the commissioner and the NFL.
So this is
paying a player to beat up his wife, and we talked about that yesterday, Charlton.
Yeah.
Is that here's Colin Kaepernick has not committed a crime.
Yeah.
But they are players in the NFL who've committed sexual assault, who have committed vehicular homicide, who have beat children, who have beat women, Charlton, who have beat up other citizens, Charlton. They are in the NFL playing with felony charges on their record. But yet Colin Kaepernick has none of that. And you would think that the way the media is treating him, the way they're talking negative about him, is that he's the felon out there. But who is the true felon, Charlton?
Yeah.
Is the media, the sports outlets, the felons? Because they've created this story without foundation, Charlton, against an individual because he took a political stance and they tried to say he was anti-American, Charlton.
Yeah.
But they never say the guys who go out and shoot up churches and movie theaters and schools are anti-American. They have a chemical problem, Charlton. They had a mental imbalance.
Yeah.
They needed psychiatric help. They weren't not anti-American. They just had a problem that somebody didn't recognize.
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick didn't have a problem, but other than one thing, Charlton, is that he made America recognize its ugly self and what it was doing wrong.
And see, Big C, and that's what I love about Big C Sports, and that's why Big C Sports, I don't care what anybody says, we're the number one show in the universe, according to Big C and the good old boys, but a lot of other people who emulate what we're doing, because what we're saying, it's one thing to read a story in a paper and say, oh, I didn't know that was going on, but you were on top of the Trump and how crooked Donald Trump is before he was even inaugurated, Big C. You were on this over about a year ago, and now CNN, which is supposed to be the number one respected news company out there, now they're just trying to say that there's new evidence that shows possible Trump-Russia collusion. Unless they're just dumb people, it's been going on for 20 years because it's not new. It's just new for people who are stupid, all right? But a lot of people act dumb. But I just congratulate you that, and it's real tough because here's a guy trying to stop other people from getting a job, okay? Mostly black men. And we have a lot of white brethren in our media, and I love everybody. I don't care what color you are. But if we can't be like Walter Cronkite, then at least get out of the media business. And I know some of you guys are afraid to tell the truth. But at some point in time, we owe it to the American people, as they always say, to let the facts be the facts. I want to bring something up because I think it's so important. Colin Kaepernick or not, there's something that happened with Michigan State University. Okay, there's a doctor who sexually assaulted gymnasts going back to 2000. Okay, that's over 17 years ago, Big C. He had a job for 17 years, even though this stuff had been going on for 17 years.
So what you're saying, Charlton, he had a free run to sexually assault young teenage girls for 17 years.
Yes.
Who was he hired by? Another white guy that did this going on because they had been police investigations, Charlton.
Yeah.
And he was put back to work even after he was suspended. He wasn't fired, initially. He was suspended because no one wanted to believe these girls that he had
There are dozens. There are dozens of girls.
He's a credible doctor.
Yeah.
He committed sexual assault against some teenage girl, Charlton. And it was multiple. It wasn't one, Charlton. There were half a dozen that came forth. But all half of them had to have collusion as teenagers and lie against this individual. They had to get together and put together this story against this credible doctor because he's our friend.
Yeah.
We know him. He's been by my house for dinner. We've gone out and played golf. He couldn't be sexually assaulting these girls, Charlton.
Yeah, and see, this is something important because Donald Trump and none of these good old boys, whether it's ESPN or Fox, that want to blame Colin Kaepernick for bringing attention to Black Lives Matter, what the Kerner report always told us about that over 60 years ago. This gentleman at Michigan State, now the university, they are in a bad spot because they have to defend themselves against lawsuits brought on by over a dozen women and girls who visited this Dr. Larry Nassar for sports injuries. Well, the University of Michigan State, they're the ones who vetted this guy. But this has been going on 17 years. He's a white guy, so he gets away with it with impunity. For all of you who hate Colin Kaepernick for saying stop shooting black men, and like Donald Trump, he took out the ad about giving black men the death penalty for something they did not do. And he's such a knucklehead, he gets on TV and says he's going to punish anyone or treat bad about someone who hires Colin Kaepernick. And here's a white doctor molesting girls for 17 years, and no one's saying he shouldn't have a job until some of them have the gall to tell on him. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I look at this heinous alleged act that happened in this high school bathroom a couple of days ago. And, they were, supposedly committed by some illegal aliens, the people that were in this country illegally.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's one news outlet, Fox, that has dedicated an hour of news coverage since this has happened.
Yeah.
To this one incident, okay? One incident. They've dedicated an hour this week to it. That's a lot of news time. I'm not saying that it's not worthy, but, are they manipulating this situation?
Oh, yeah, they are.
Young girl?
They are.
And this immigrant ban that's in America, are they, working on this in cahoots with the president? But not one day have they talked about this doctor that for 17 years committed sexual assault on teenage girls, Charlton.
Yeah.
Not one day. They haven't spent one day talking about it, but they're talking about these two immigrant kids that are in jail, but they haven't spent one day talking about this doctor that molested girls for 17 years. What is it? He gets a white pass? Is that what it is?
That's what Tim Weiss calls it.
17 years
Tim.
molestation
Yeah.
on these young girls, these young gymnasts, hopefuls, and one was an Olympian, Charlton. She
Yeah.
went to the Olympics. So, but if she had said something, she would have never gotten that opportunity. And
Yeah.
that was the fear that he held over everybody. He held their career. If you say something, I'll tell the coaches that you can't recover from this injury. They need to get rid of you. And
Yeah.
that's how much power he had, Charlton. If he told the coaches that this girl is just somebody that you just want to get rid of and replace, she was gone. Her gymnastics career was over.
Yeah. There's a lady that did the same thing. She brought a suit against the basketball coach at Iowa State back in the day, and she was black and the coach was white, and she said that environment made it difficult. And see, even my white brethren, I listen to almost everybody, and for 30 years I've been doing it, but they rarely talk about it more than a minute. But I just want to say that, yes sir, go ahead, see.
Stop the show, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. You've been all over the place with skitty sound. I don't know what you're doing moving, but you've been in and out, barely hearing you throughout the entire show.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, I hear you.
I've been texting you.
Okay, and now, but Big C, the point I want to bring up is this same doctor, we've been talking about this, he happened to be hired by a university. This is a university that's considered patriotic. This is a doctor who's considered patriotic. At the same time, there's no one saying, over 17 years, no one knew anything, just like with Donald Trump, no one knew anything about this doctor at Michigan State that was dealing with these girls. I mean, how do people get away with that? And we're the media. Aren't we supposed to tell the truth? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charles, this is a university that receives government money.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Let's be realistic about it. Donald Trump's talking about taking sanctuary money from sanctuary cities.
Yeah.
And this university has been receiving government money forever. And for that 17 years that he was molesting these young girls, he was on the government payroll.
Yeah.
Okay? You work for the university. That's a state university. So that's state money. So you're receiving state money, Charleston, state funds. That's what he was receiving.
Yeah.
So he was on the payroll of the state being paid to molest. This is what he was doing, Charleston.
So why is that? So why is...
when he was hired by the Olympics team, okay? By the Olympic Committee where he was working in Colorado Springs, where they had their training facility.
Yeah.
That's government funded, Charleston. So this man spent 17 years on the government payroll being paid to molest young girls.
Yeah.
And people will say, well, it happened during the Obama administration. Well, it happened during the Bush administration. It happened during the Clinton administration. So it happened for a long time, Charleston.
Yeah.
It happened for a long time, but he was hired by the U.S. government. And that part of it, the presidents are not overseen. None of them, okay?
Yeah.
None of the presidents are overseeing the Olympic Committee. There are finance departments, Charleston, that are doing that.
Yeah.
All right? Athletic departments that are doing that. But, you know, to be hired by Michigan State and to be under investigation by them, and they were saying that it was okay what he was doing.
Yeah.
You know, how can you do that? Well, and let this live?
Well, see,
that's what they were doing.
And that's exactly what they were doing, see. And it's one more thing, too. When we look at how that ties into Donald Trump, about the people who are really the crime committers in the country, how they're getting a pass on the back and people are voting for him. Now they're realizing that President Obama was a lot more intelligent. You know, he's a constitutional lawyer, so he's a lot more intelligent than the guy that ran a TV show and does real estate and has lawsuits against him. And now you have Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican of the Armed Services Committee, and he doesn't even know what to say because they've been backing Trump, and they're willing to throw their whole careers away for this one shyster. And now that new evidence shows possible Trump-Russia collusion, even Senator Lindsey Graham, who was a big, opponent against President Obama when he was trying to get health care passed, and they followed this guy who has this illegal Russian ring going on at Trump Tower, this guy who's grabbing women by their vagina, their private areas, and they're backing this guy, and now they're all in trouble because birds of a feather flock together. They don't even know what to say. Rush Limbaugh, he might even go on vacation for a couple of days. Based on your thoughts.
Well, we're talking about, it's a sad state of affairs. That, you had this guy, you elected, and you thought that there would be actions to benefit America.
Yeah.
But the whole time during his early presidency here, he's trying to put out fires with another lie every day.
Yeah.
You would think that when Sean Spicer held his daily briefings, it would be about progression in America. Things that were being enacted to benefit the American public.
Yeah.
Job bills being put forth. These things are not happening. Trade bills that are being put forth. We are not getting those, Charleston.
No.
Every day, it's about the Russians. It's about collusion. We've had nothing in almost 60 days from this president that benefits American society.
Yeah.
They talked about abolishing and repealing Obamacare. Do people not realize that if that occurs, it's going to take 5 years to implement the new plan? So within that 5 years, all the people that lose their medical care, what will they do, Charlton? Those people that have serious illnesses that insurance companies can say, no, we don't have to insure you anymore.
Yeah.
Because the new health plan bill is out there and we don't have to do anything for you. So these are the things that, need to be looked at. If you're going to replace something, and I know you've bought a car before, like many other of our listeners have bought a car.
Yeah.
When you trade in that old car that you have, you've already picked out the new car, and you're ready to put the keys in the ignition and drive it off the lot.
Yeah.
It's not about I'll come back and I'm trading in my car to figure out which one I want to get.
Yeah.
That deal is done, Charlton. So when you repeal that old car that you have and you replace it with the new one, it's done simultaneously. You don't need time to think about it. You've already made up your mind. You've already had the payment plan in place, Charlton.
Yeah.
What you can afford and the type of vehicle you want. Me, I ain't going to do nothing without messing with you.
Yeah.
But, this is what...
And let's be honest, you're not trading yours. They're just giving them to you to drive, Big C. Come on, tell the truth. Don't be like Spicer for a change, Big C.
And I want this man to succeed in something.
Oh, of course. He's our country.
I want him to succeed to be being honest.
Yeah.
You have to be honest foremost, Charles. to succeed. You can't cover one lie with a lie on a daily basis saying, well, we'll wait to the end of the week and see what comes out.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see what else leaks out. And when this stuff is coming out, you're not saying the stuff is wrong. You say, well, we got to find out what the leak is.
Yeah.
You're not disputing what came out. You got to find out what the leak is. Well, we don't want the anonymous source. We want the person said it because it's a crime.
Yeah.
No, the crime is what you're doing. It's like in football. When you're offside, you're offside. When they throw that yellow flag saying offside, encroachment, you know, you're offside.
Yeah. that's supposed to be.
So there's no disputing of it.
Yeah. And we understand that too. And that's why, whether you are American or not, I mean, all over the world, people still look to America as that shining light, the place where democracy is in practice, is a place where you can come from anywhere on the planet, and you supposedly, according to the Constitution, you have equal opportunity. Okay, you're not supposed to be oppressed by your color, your race, your religion. Well, now Donald Trump's trying to do this religion oppression, Big C, but that's illegal according to the Constitution. And so it's just interesting seeing how our political leaders, who also love sports, and they also talk about March Madness and the Super Bowl, and they love baseball. They're all part of that. But to have our commander-in-chief speaking out against a NFL football player, and you have a doctor at Michigan State who's assaulting women, is a shame. And I also want to bring this up, too, because this was just in the news down in the great state of Alabama. Lane Kiffin, one of your friends, I know you love Alabama football. Lane Kiffin's accused of fraud in a lawsuit by Florida Atlantic coach. He's the coach now at Florida Atlantic. He was the offensive coordinator under your good old friend Nick Saban down for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And a lawsuit was filed by former Alabama wide receiver Antonio C. Carter in Shelby County, Alabama. He alleged that Kiffin, coaches never lie to players, right, Big C? But Kiffin misled him into believing that he had a job with Florida Atlanta to help get some leverage in recruiting the kid. And obviously, a lot of times, you've always said they use you when they need you, but when they don't need you, they get rid of you. So how is Lane Kiffin finding more trouble, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Jonathan, I think this is Alabama coming after Lane Kiffin more than anything else, Charles.
Oh, really?
If you look at it, Nick Saban's ego felt that he had messed up. He held on to Lane Kiffin, and that he could go out there and win a national championship without him.
Yeah.
But, Nick Saban got embarrassed.
Yeah.
He replaced Lane Kiffin the week of the national championship game. He goes out. His offense has no rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay? He loses the national championship game. A couple of weeks later, the guy he replaces him with leaves. So he's out there with his zipper wide open in the wind, Charles.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's basically what Nick Saban was.
Yeah.
And so then he goes out and hires his offensive coordinator from New England.
Yeah.
Now, Alabama's not going to run New England's offense.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the fit is in the place. But Nick Saban needed somebody that he can say, I'm in control of.
I didn't think about that.
This tight end coach from New England, people think that we're going to implement Tom Brady's offense. He's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
He's not going to throw the ball 60% of the time.
Yeah.
The SEC is a running conference. So he's being questioned on this. And so, he got his butt up against the wall saying, hey, I'm in charge. How dare you question me?
Yeah.
They all know he made a mistake because it's all about winning at Alabama.
Yeah.
It's not about second place. It's all about winning. No one cares if you come in second place.
Yeah.
And yes, he's been in the top 10 basically every year he's been there. No one cares about that. They only care about the national championships he wins. Other than that, he's a failure.
Yeah.
In his mind and in the state's mind. So, this is one of those things where I think this is a way for Nick Saban to get back. Because how does a former player have the money and the wherewithal to go out there and bring this lawsuit against an individual that he wasn't even working for, Charles?
Yeah.
He didn't have a job with. You can have a conversation with anybody.
Yeah.
And they can say, hey, I can possibly get you a job. But how many people are interviewing for coaching jobs? We know black coaches don't get jobs in the NFL.
Right.
But, so can they all sue? No, because the Rooney Rule exists.
Yeah.
Black coaches are not going to get jobs in college football, Charles, because the white rule exists. I'm going to hire the guys who look like me. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it is. So for him to go out and enact this lawsuit and to bring a black player in, Charles, that brings that racial overtone.
Yeah.
But this is in another state. This is not even Alabama where he lives, where he resides.
Yeah.
And he has not moved his family to Florida, okay? He was still in Alabama, so he's going to sue somebody out of state saying that they promised me a job. You didn't quit the job you had. You didn't uproot your family. You didn't move.
Yeah.
Everybody who comes in for a job interview, Charlton, I believe in any coaching ranks, whether it's high school, college, professional.
Yeah.
They all come in with the pretense that they're going to get the job. That's the reason why they interview.
That's why they interview, yeah.
And you're told that you're one of the top candidates and you most likely have a great shot at getting this job. That doesn't, you didn't write down on paper, you didn't have a contractual agreement.
Yeah.
That you were hired. So that hearsay is a tough thing to follow through with. But it's just ironic that a former player from Alabama
yeah, I know.
is suing the former offensive coordinator from Alabama, and this guy has no long-term coaching experience, Joe.
That's incredible, Big C. I just want to bring up that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation of this billion-dollar industry. Reach out to Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide on the iHeartRadio network. Also, we're sponsored by Benemark Insurance, and we can insure professional athletes, collegiate athletes, even your high school and mom and pop soccer leagues. Reach out to Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network. Also follow us on Twitter at Yes Charlton on Twitter, because we keep it real and we give you real sports talk. Big C, around the world and some other things going on. We know we have this March Madness starting tonight with some regional games in the Midwest Regional at the Sprint Center in Kansas City, Missouri. It's a great-looking arena. It's amazing. Kansas City does not have a basketball team. I know the Sacramento Kings left there and came here.
You guys stole them years ago.
Yeah, well, no, we didn't. No, that was the Maloof brothers. You want to hear a story on how the Sacramento Kings got that the Kings have come from Kansas City? Is a guy by the name of Greg Luganville, and they bought Kansas City out to Sacramento because it had tremendous growth, and it still does. It's a great place to live. And then they got bought out by these brothers called the Maloof brothers, who were part of an alcohol brewery down south, Big C. You might even know them good old boys. But they were always taking players down to Las Vegas, a place where nobody goes because nobody knows what happens. What do they say? Yeah.
Great rooftop bar up there also.
Oh, yeah. So you've probably been down there a couple times with the good old boys, Big C. Well, ironically, when the Kings were owned by some good old boys that had the Palms Casino in Las Vegas, and they were always going down to the desert for whatever happened in Vegas stays in Vegas, they played more relaxed, Big C. And they were always winning playoff games, Big C. 8 years in a row, they made the playoffs when they were always spending time in Vegas. Is there any correlation with what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, Big C? Your thoughts?
That's the reason why the Raiders want to go down there.
Yeah.
Playoff run is pretty successful.
Yeah.
We're going to find out how successful because we now have a hockey team that's going to start up down there next year.
Yeah.
And so that will really put the temperature on Vegas, how athletes interact with that city.
Yeah.
For years, professional sports have fought to stay out of Vegas.
Yeah.
But money, Charlton, has become the mainstay of all sports.
Yeah.
It's about money. And wherever the most money can be given, Charlton, that's where teams are going.
Yeah.
It's not about loyalty. It's not about fan base, Charlton. It's about where the ultimate dollar is when it comes to an owner.
Yeah.
How much money can I get from this deal?
Yeah.
You think about the moving fee that the Rams paid to the NFL to go to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They paid $750,000 to the NFL to move back to L.A.
Yeah.
I mean, not $750 million.
750, it's $750 million, yeah.
$750 million, $750 million to move back to L.A. Now, that lets you know what type of money is involved.
Yeah.
They're only asking the Raiders for half of that to relocate to Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's funny.
Only asking for half of that. So, but no one is talking about, Charlton, the fan bases that are left behind. Yes, Oakland's only a stone's throw from Las Vegas. There's probably a lot of inexpensive flights that you can get.
Oh, yeah.
From Oakland to Las Vegas with.
Yeah.
But, that's even more money that these fans have to put out. Now, instead of just going to the parking lot, Charlton, you got to get a hotel room.
Yeah.
You got to get a rental car.
Yeah.
You have to spend even more money to be a fan of your favorite team.
Yeah.
So, at what point will these professional organizations think about truly their fan base, Charlton? This is what has to be done.
Yeah.
I mean, you always say it's a billion-dollar industry. It is. But there's a billion fans that care about it also.
Yeah.
And those billion fans are really a secondary thought to the greed of the owners around. We've talked about players boycotting, sitting out.
Yeah.
What happens the day the fans don't show up?
Yeah.
That's what's really going to be interesting. What's going to happen the day you walk into an arena, a stadium, and it's just the team inside?
Yeah, and that's happened even in Oakland. And I love the Raiders staying in Oakland, but the fact of the matter is they got a grant from the city of Oakland, Alameda County, and they built what's known as Mount Davis when they wanted to get more luxury boxes in, and it just went awry. They've tarped off 10,000 seats on the top deck of the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, and they don't even take it down for playoff games, Big C. And to me, that's an eyesore. And I would hate to see them leave Oakland. But how do you say no when someone offers you $1.5 billion, Big C, to take your team to a new city that has a lot of new things where they tear down new casinos the same way people trade in new cars, Big C? How do you say no to $1.5 billion in that environment, Big C? That's the question. Your thoughts?
You cannot, Charlton. And, it's business. It's business. But we don't see Donald Trump stepping forth talking about sports team for moving, but he wants to go threaten an air conditioning company.
Yeah.
Okay. For moving, taking jobs elsewhere.
Yeah.
He's not saying that to these professional sports teams, Charlton, because he has, friendship with them.
Yeah.
And so he's going to benefit them. But this is what you got to look at. When the Raiders are talking about moving, we haven't heard one call of him to Mark Davis.
Yeah.
He's called to threaten every other owner of a corporation that is talking about moving their business.
Yeah.
But we haven't heard one call from Donald Trump to Mark Davis about taking these jobs and these livelihoods out of the Oakland Bay area.
Yeah.
Again, he will make these negative comments about Colin Kaepernick, threatening owners about hiring a black quarterback who stood up against the things that he stands for.
Yeah.
So, there's something wrong. They say that politics and sports don't mix.
Oh, it mixes.
You mix them in the things that you want. When you know that you have a responsibility to the people of America as far as protecting their jobs, at least that's what you say.
Yeah.
How many thousands of jobs, Charlton, are going to be lost when you move an NFL franchise?
Yeah.
All somebody has to do is go poll the city of St. Louis. That's all they have to do. Go poll the city of St. Louis and see how many jobs were lost when the Rams moved back to L.A. Look at the city of Baltimore, Charlton.
Yeah.
See how many jobs were lost when the Colts went to Indianapolis. Look at Cleveland when the Browns originally left and went to Baltimore. Look at those cities, Charlton, when the Rams left Los Angeles originally.
Yeah.
And went to St. Louis. They left Anaheim and went to St. Louis. Even when the Raiders left Oakland before, Charlton, the impact, the financial and social impact on these communities that these sports teams, by devastation of moving, do people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that increase. Abuse, crime, all of these things because you feel that you've been neglected and left behind.
Well, Big C, you know how earlier you know how earlier you said stop the show because you wanted them to bring up that point of what happened with the Michigan State and also the things that were happening and the assault allegations. Donald Trump, supposedly said, "I'm president, you're not." That's why he's going to say what he wants to say. He's telling that to the whole world, Big Z. He's making that statement to Canada. He's making that statement to Europe. He's making that statement to, not to Russia. He wants anything to Russia. But he's telling all the people that voted, I'm president, you're not, when it comes to credibility, that they either got to trust him or the CIA. So that's what you're saying when he thinks that his word is more powerful than anybody else. Is that what you mean, Big C?
Well, he kind of feels that way.
Can you imagine that?
The alternative truth that he may spew, he and Sean Spicer and Conway, who are constantly out there in the public spotlight making these statements. Well, he's not so much because he's tweeting all the time.
Yeah.
He lets his little flunkies go out there and do his point.
Yeah.
I listen to him anytime that he's on.
Yeah.
So he had an opportunity in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, early in the week, to atone for the lies that he told.
Yeah.
Not one mention. He had an opportunity while he was in Louisville, Kentucky, to say that this investigation was false.
Yeah.
And had no backbone by the CIA CIA and the intelligence agency. He had every opportunity to dispute every claim that's been made against him, Charles.
Yeah.
He had a claim the other day in the halls of Congress to dispute these claims.
Yeah.
But he does not, Charlton. He does not dispute these claims. Yes, he comes out with all these false statements, but he won't dispute the claim.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people always say, when there's smoke, there's fire.
Oh, yeah.
It's a damn forest fire.
It's a forest fire, Big C. And speaking of forest fire, in the final segment of our program, I just want to touch a little bit on the NBA, and we'll run down some games that are going to happen today, Big C. Last night in the NBA, we had Milwaukee with a win over Sacramento, and Giannis took the triple. That guy is amazing. He's an amazing athlete. You have Charlotte 109, Orlando 102, Boston 109-100 over Indiana. Has anybody seen the great Larry Bird, Big C, since that lotto was hit? I haven't seen him. That's yeah. Where's Larry Bird? Yeah. Also, Chicago 117, Detroit 95, Oklahoma City 122 over Philadelphia at 97, and Russell Westbrook is playing like he's a cartoon character. You know those video games that a guy can go out and not miss a basket, Big C? That's what Russell Westbrook did last night. The guy's simply amazing. I want to give him the MVP so bad. He has a team that's not as talented as what they had last year, but his play has improved. Okay, he has a team that's not as talented as Houston, but I think he has them still on his back by himself, Big C. They're definitely not as talented as Golden State, but I just love the way he plays. Washington 104, Atlanta 100 in a close game, and we thought that Cleveland would have had a tough time in Denver last night because of the altitude, Big C, and Denver doubled up on them 126-113. Your thoughts on Cleveland having a tough time playing at altitude, Big C? Didn't they just rest some of their players in L.A.?
Well, Charlton, I don't know if it's a tough time playing at altitude. I think that they're not playing as hard. You know, they got a lot of backlash about resting players, not putting them in the game. But it seems more so now that they're resting players during the game.
Yeah.
They're not giving 100% performance to kind of squash what the media said and the commissioner said that these players have to perform.
Yeah.
So you can go out there and perform at an 80% clip.
Yeah.
And it still looks better than the average Joe on the street.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're going to get from these players now to avoid the backlash of the media and the commissioner.
Yeah.
If you get a 75 to 80% output during a game, you won't get an optimum performance. You won't see them running from end to end the whole time. You'll see them instead of only getting a 4-minute rest during the game, they're getting 12 to 15-minute rest during the game now, Charlton.
Yeah.
There's ways to counter what the media and the commissioner is saying about these African-American players wanting to get some rest.
Yeah.
Because that's who they blasted. So there's alternatives to Kelly Conway ways to operate.
Yeah.
And so I see that's what's occurring. You can see these elite teams losing to the teams that they're not supposed to, Charlton.
Yeah.
Because they're only giving an 80% output during that game, so they're going to come up losing by 8 to 10 points a night. Yeah,
and that's incredible too. But we're going to see what happens going down the stretch. If all of this matters going into the playoffs tonight, we have Miami with a 4-point favorite over Toronto. That game's in Miami. Brooklyn's favored by 4 over Phoenix. The Clippers are favored by 4 over Dallas, and that game's going to be in Texas. San Antonio, they are an 8-point favorite over Memphis, and Portland is a 10.5-point favorite over the New York Knicks. I want to just run down a little bit of Major League Baseball for the spring games. It was the A's 5-3 over the White Sox, the Giants 6-4 over Milwaukee, Houston 8-4 over Minnesota, the Yankees 7-3 over Philadelphia. It was St. Louis, and we talked about them with having some March Madness going on. A 6-1 win over Washington. Toronto 5-4 over Detroit. Kind of a football score of Miami 15-9 over the Mets. Big C, what's going on with the Mets in spring? Kansas City a 6-2 win over San Diego. Colorado 10, Cleveland 2, and then we have a big game with Texas 7 and the LA Angels 4. Just your thoughts as we get into the final stretch of our program, March Madness. Really looking forward to it. The game start a short time ago, and we have Michigan 26-11 versus Oregon at 31-5. And I'm telling you right now, they still have Michigan as a 1-point pick. I'm looking at Oregon just because of their athleticism to get that win over the Wolverines. Your thoughts, Big C?
Well, when you think about the teams that have gotten to this point, Charles, there's really no favorites.
Yeah.
Okay? This is parity right now when you get to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
These teams are built to play at this time of the year. You have some teams that were not expected to be there.
Yeah.
But, I can't call anybody an underdog. Yes, Vegas is pretty good as far as making the points for you.
Yeah.
They don't go broke by giving away money.
Well, I'm not concerned about Vegas, see. I'm concerned about Donald Trump's gambling ring with Russia. That's where the real money is, from what I understand, Big C.
I don't know if that's gambling or laundering.
Okay. Okay.
Laundering money, you're not gambling with money.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing that he's looking at when they come over and they're laundering money through his facility.
Yeah.
And no one knows how it's getting in or how it's getting out.
Yeah, blame it on Latin America. They're gonna blame it on the Mexicans, Big C. That's who he's gonna blame it on.
Well, Charlton, this is the thing about it. When you know that the Russians are doing these things, and it's documented by
the CIA and the FBI.
Our intelligence agencies, Charlton. But you spend your time concentrating on the Mexicans.
Yeah.
This is what you're talking about, concentrating on the Mexicans.
So you're saying maybe they're trying to build a wall in the wrong area, Big C? Should it be in the Atlantic Ocean? Is that what you're saying?
Well, when you sit there, everything is about Mexicans. Everything is about Mexicans. It's like we've talked.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the African Americans who are incarcerated, Charlton, for marijuana.
Yeah.
They're life sentences. But the white guy with Oxycontin and cocaine, there's nothing ever happens to him.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Rush Limbaugh, he's never been prosecuted. Yeah.
The injustice in society in America.
Yeah.
As far as how people are treated based on the chemical dependency that you have.
Yeah.
It's unjust.
So let me.
If we took all the white Americans who are taking legal drugs, Charlton, and locked them up, what would the prison population change to at that point as far as percentages?
Well, so in a serious.
They get rehab, Charlton.
They
don't get prison time, they get rehab. They get to go to an outpatient center.
So
this is what they get to do.
Yeah, and on a serious note too, because a guy like Rush Limbaugh, we know he had some chemical dependency on was it Oxycontin? He was fine. Yeah, he never went to jail for it. Why didn't Rush Limbaugh go to jail? And is he even off of it? You see how much that guy sweats, even when he has a fan blowing on him? But he's never done prison time for a guy who's broken the law and committed a crime. Why is a guy like Rush Limbaugh so easily hired by a radio station? Big for your thoughts.
Because he's a fascist and a racist, Charlton.
Yeah.
He says things against other Americans, Charlton.
Yeah.
He has a base that does not like Americans, that they're anti-American, and yet they want to go out and say that they stand for America. You cannot be anti-citizen and stand for America, Charlton.
Yeah.
And this is what I don't get. We've had this forever. You can go back to the early days of America, Charlton, with slavery and all of these, and people saying that they were American, yet they were anti-Americans against the people who were here.
Yeah.
Treated them differently. Treated them as less than people. That's not American, Charlton. African Americans have fought for a long time inequality in America, and yet they still have not achieved it.
Yeah.
Because when you have the president of America attacking African Americans, Charlton, where is the equality?
Yeah, that's true, and you got to bring it up, and no one will but Big C Sports, Big C. Also, I just want to run down just a few more games that are happening tonight. Purdue 27-7 versus Kansas 30-4. And that should be a fantastic game. Kansas, all they do is win. They're like DJ Khaled. All they do is win no matter what. They might meet their match at Purdue, but I think Kansas gets past this game. Your thoughts, Big C?
Well, I've liked Kansas from the start of the tournament, Charlton. They're a very solid program. They've been there consistently, okay?
Yeah.
They're not a back-down program. And there's something about having tradition, because you always have people on your roster that have been there. And that's what you get in Kansas, is that you have players that have been there.
Yeah.
And so that makes a difference. When you have Purdue, and they've had a fantastic season, Charlton, having their first run into the Sweet 16 in a long time. I think since Joe Barry Carroll was there, who was a former first-round draft pick of the Warriors when they got rid of the Chiefs. Robert Parrish has Purdue been in this situation.
Yeah.
And that was back in the 70s. So, for this university to get there, but it's something about having been there before. Act like you've done it before, Charles.
Yeah.
That's what Kansas can do. Bill Self can do that with his players. He knows how to control the clock. He knows when to take those strategic moves from the position.
Yeah.
And I think that may be the separation in tonight's game with Kansas and Purdue.
And then the last two games, basically, I'll be covering these tonight down in the South Bay part of the Bay Area. It's going to be at the SAP Center in San Jose where the Sharks play. Gonzaga 34-1 versus West Virginia 28-8. And West Virginia coming all the way across the country to play that game. That game's already tipped off. And I'll be watching more of the Xavier 23-13 versus Arizona. They're 32-4. And that's a 7:10 p.m. start. Your thoughts on Gonzaga, West Virginia? When you look at the point spread, Gonzaga's a 3-point favorite. West Virginia over West Virginia, and then Arizona's favored by 7.5 over Xavier. That might even be a double-digit win for Arizona. Your thoughts, Big C?
Well, Charlton, we've spent a lot of time talking about Mark Few and Gonzaga. Tremendous program that they've had over the last 20 years. They're on the West Coast, but Bob Huggins has done a tremendous job going back, resurrecting his alma mater at West Virginia.
Yeah.
He's taking them to new heights. And he left the Big Eight. Well, not the Big Eight, but he left Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, yeah.
To go to West Virginia.
Yeah.
And people question that move, but, he's gone back to Morgantown, and now they're on the national radar all the time. Yeah. It's a difference what a coach can do for a program. A lot of times people think it's just the talent.
Yeah.
There's not a college basketball team out there anywhere, Charlton, without talent. But when you're thinking about this short turnaround with Bob Huggins and what has occurred at West Virginia, this is why the big talk is at Indiana.
Yeah.
About, Steve Alford. Not only him, but the head coach at OKC.
Yeah.
Billy Donovan. There's a lot of talk about Billy Donovan going. Now think about that, Charlton. If Billy Donovan leaves Oklahoma City and goes to Indiana instead of Steve Alford, look at Russell Westbrook. 2 years in a row. You get Kevin Durant desert you. And 2 years prior to that, James Harden deserted you.
Yeah.
So, there might be something with that guy, Charlton.
Well, I tell you what, sometimes you may have an attitude of I'm going to be the king, but I can't knock the guy for proving it. But it's a team game, and the more you get along with your teammates, the better off you are. And the last thing I want to...
Did we talk about that in football?
Yeah.
When they talked about Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah.
When he was winning, he was the team. He had a good team, wasn't Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
But when he was losing, it was Colin Kaepernick, even though he didn't have a good team around him.
Well,
it's amazing how it fits the individual, Charlton.
Yeah. Well,
as long as they were winning, he had a great defense and a great offense.
Yeah.
But the minute they started losing, well, they had no coach, they had no defense, they had no offense. But statistically, there were only 3 quarterbacks that had numbers equal or better than him for his touchdown-interception ratio.
Yeah.
But he can't play. Damn.
That's so...
Guys who sit on the bench holding a clipboard are more valuable than him.
Well, if anyone, I want to go to Mel Kiper real quick in the final 2 minutes. How does Mel Kiper and Todd McShay, they are among many people saying that Colin Kaepernick can't play, even though he accounted for 70% of the 49ers offense last year. But Jared Goff and Carson Wentz have jobs, and we saw how horrible they are, Big C. Now, for anyone that doubts a guy that's gone to the NFL,
It's $47 million from Chicago. Think about this, Charlton.
Yeah.
Mike Glennon was the quarterback in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Prior to Jameis Winston getting drafted.
Yeah.
And when Jameis Winston got drafted, what position did Tampa Bay have in the draft?
Yeah, they were one of the top picks. Yeah, top pick.
They had the number one overall pick. That meant you had the worst record in the league.
Yeah.
And so you had the worst record in the league with a guy that was playing quarterback who just got $47 million.
Yeah. I think...
You rationalize that to me. Now, you look at his statistics as a starter. Mike Glennon, when he was the starter for Tampa Bay, he was 1-10.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was his record again, C?
Tampa to get the number one overall draft because they benched Josh Freeman.
Did you say he was 1-10?
He was 1-10 when Josh Freeman started the season. Okay?
Yeah.
They cut Josh Freeman. They put in Mike Glennon because they had the guy, and I'm trying to think who's the coach is now, Greg Schiano.
Yeah, Schiano.
He's the coordinator of Ohio State now.
Yeah.
He didn't like, Freeman. So he's out of the NFL. Another black quarterback who couldn't play.
Yeah.
But he put Mike Glennon in. He goes 1-10 as a starter.
Wow.
Freeman was bad, I guess, because he was 1-4 at the start of the season. But they put Glennon in, and he did a whole lot better at 1-10. So they drafted Jameis Winston. Number one overall, because you got this quarterback that you spent a second-round draft pick on. That's your starter.
Yeah.
Hadn't played a game since.
Yeah.
But he gets, you're 1-10 as a starter, and you get $47 million. Something.
I think
$47 million. I don't understand.
I think Joe Montana, he's even getting this arm warmed up big season. He can at least get half of that money based on what they're paying guys that are 1-10, Big C. And as we close out the show on your final thoughts, Big C, we've talked about some of the NFL. We've talked about the NBA. We talked about March Madness, even some baseball scores. We've talked about POTUS, and he's telling people that there's no more time for any getting, voting or whatever. You got to vote. Give me a vote right now, yes or no. Obviously, he's going to be out of office sometime. It's just a matter of time. But your thoughts on what's important to you coming up in the world of sports, Big C?
Well, Charlton, we just came off the World Baseball Classic that the U.S. won.
Yeah.
A great series of great athletes playing baseball from around the world. The sad part about it had to go up against March Madness, which is a marvelous traditional time of the year in America. But I think America was done a great injustice because we have so many sports being played at one time. We have the hockey enthusiasts with the NHL. We have the basketball enthusiasts with the NBA.
Yeah.
We have all of those people who live for March Madness every year, Charlton.
Yeah.
The World Baseball Classic doesn't come around every year.
Yeah.
But this was one of the greatest competitions in the history of the World Baseball Classic, and we did not get a chance to witness as Americans to its fullest, Charlton, because it was on those alternative networks, those alternative channels.
Yeah.
That we didn't get to see it in the full story.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking anything that goes on in the world of sports.
Yeah.
But sometimes those who schedule sporting events, be cognizant of the American fans, the American citizen.
Yeah.
Allow us all the opportunity to see the greatest of performances. You can move something a week or two, especially like the World Baseball Classic, and allow the fans to enjoy that, Charlton.
Yeah.
But, it's been a marvelous time with March Madness. I wish more Americans would have been able to view the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
Because it was just great competition every night from the most elite baseball players in the world.
Well, Big C, you said it so well. Over 50,000 people at Sylvester Ravine last night watching it, and none of them were committing crimes according to Donald Trump and them good old boys, Big C. But we want to tell you every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide, follow Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network, the #1 network in the United States of America. And also, Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never any room for domestic violence. If you know any woman going through that garbage or some man grabbing her by the crotch, just call 911. And because no one should have to deal with that garbage all on her own. And as we always tell you on every program, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.